good Sunday morning? Wow. The
Hello?
Midnight Rider has gotten younger.
I don't know what happened to me. I don't know. This happened over the countdown.
Man.
But I got a message. I got a little something I want to say. If that's cool with you, good sir.
Let's go.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joshua Conti. And today, my client, the undefeated, undisputed, reigning, universal heavyweight champion of sports talk, the Midnight Rider. We good, man.
Oh my goodness, the theatrics and everything. I love it. I love it. I see, man. All right. This morning has started off rough, but that just made it even better. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. That just made it even better. Man.
I was kind of cooking the grits a little bit because I was like, let's do Money in the Bank because then it'll be appropriate for him to start it that way. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We joined also by the man none other than the boss BJ.
Yeah, he is.
Morning.
That said, I'm still in bed, but I'm here though. I'm just here so I won't get fired.
It is Marshawn Lynch.
Well, I have to issue a statement before we start. Last night's Saturday Night WrestleManiacs garnered a $100 fine, and also
Possible.
There will be suspensions.
Yeah, possible Tony Kornheiser-ish suspensions might be levied. Yeah.
All because the People's Choice Don Rodriguez took a forbidden phrase that I got in trouble for on Thursday. He took it on Saturday. And he ran with it and he added something to it and he said one word 75 times at least. So, well,
put the word in the chat so I know what not to say.
Oh, it was. Remember what I said on Thursday? What I didn't call anybody on Thursday? I told him about that. Him and the Nubian Sumo about that. They laughed about it, and then People's Choice just ran with it and was like, "Okay, so how would you call somebody that? How would you use that?" And he just ran with it, and then next thing you know, he started talking about being fellaced, and it was crazy. And that was all in the middle of the show. That wasn't the end of the show. That was in the middle of the show. Okay. So. Okay. So we're gonna do a continuation really quick. Money in the Bank reactions part 2. It was a premium event yesterday. I don't like these pay-per-views or premium events that come on in the middle of the day. Like, man, I'm trying to get my stuff together. I like this. I like that to end my night. You know, come on at 7, go off at 11, 12. Okay. But anyway, Midnight Rider, take it away.
So I really wanted to start with reactions to some of the things. So the first is the Money in the Bank match itself. We had Damian Priest and Io Sky cash in or win both Money in the Banks. I saw the lead up for Io, but I don't understand how the WWE didn't give LA Knight the men's version of this Money in the Bank, unless this is the precursor to either Damian Priest or Finn Balor leaving the what's their faction called? What are they called now?
Oh my God, it's not Retribution. What the hell is it?
No, that's a terrible name. And no
it is
called Retribution again. Whatever they're called, don't even worry about it. Let's just go past that. So, because they've been hinting at some kind of dissension anyway when Balor didn't want them at the ring for his match with Seth Rollins. So I think there's gonna be some separation there, and some kid they call up from NXT maybe comes in and becomes the new fourth person, or he becomes the fifth, and then they beat up Finn Balor and kick him out of the group. Io Sky has been on a roll. Her whole work with Damage Control has been unprecedented and has been a star. The whole Shayna Baszler turning on Ronda Rousey. I think that was I think once they figured out they couldn't do the 4 UFC women versus the 4 horsemen for WWE, they kind of just abandoned ship on that plan or that thought process that was in the dirt sheets. So that became a thing. And I think the biggest moment of the night, unquestioned, is the first time that Roman Reigns has been pinned in 375 days? Go, yeah, you got to unmute your mic, dog.
Mute button won me none. It's been 3 years.
3 years. That's what it was. Okay. So that and the reaction alone was made my night. And the fact that WWE took a step that normally they wouldn't take this step if Vince was in control. But because Triple H is in control, I feel like they have the ability and the flexibility to turn this into what Triple H called it. It's cinema. This is a movie. We're watching a movie as it happens. In real life, they're acting out this play, this movie, this scene in front of us, and it's great. It's great. It's great work. It's one of the best things they've done in wrestling over the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Outside of the factions like the Shield and other things, but as one thing, as a one-off, what they've done with the Bloodline, how they made it play out, they didn't use like classical wrestling to get us to this point. So it's been beautiful. It's been a good thing to watch. What you think, man?
I enjoyed it for the most part, especially Liv and Raquel Gonzalez,
Raquel Rodriguez
winning the tag championships. I'm a Liv Morgan fan anyway. When she was world champ, I was like, that's right. Put the belt on her. And I think at the time, her and Bianca had the belt. So I was like, yeah, I'm good with that. But they didn't let Liv hold the belt long enough for me. So anytime she gets gold, I'm good with it. I love it.
Right.
I agree with you on that Money in the Bank. That LA Knight should have won that. I picked LA Knight to win that because he's, like I said last night, he's white hot.
Yeah.
He's white hot. Why
Yeah.
not put the belt on him?
Yeah.
But Don Rodriguez, the people's choice, he gave a outstanding reason why they put the belt on Damian Priest. Go ahead, sir.
So I think I watched you guys for like the first couple minutes. So as a wrestling fan, I want to get my theory out before Don Rodriguez. You say what Don said because I want to know if I'm thinking along the same lines. I think LA Knight is so hot. He doesn't need a belt. He doesn't need anything to keep him going. So he'll be okay no matter what. But you need something for Damian to get him into the right spotlight. And with the new WWE World Title, he can force his way into fighting Seth Rollins when Rollins is down, say maybe at Royal Rumble or at Survivor Series, where he can take that title off of him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I got a surprise for all of you. If you wanted to hear what the people's choice Don Rodriguez said, go to wherever you stream podcasts at and go look up the Saturday Night WrestleManiacs from July 1st. And you can go ahead and listen to that. You can go watch the playback on YouTube and Facebook. So that's a good way to plug the show for me. But outside of those, I wasn't surprised that Io Sky, I'm so used to calling her Io Shirai, but I'm not surprised that Io Sky winning that. Not surprised at all. Everything else is pretty much on par. I knew the Usos were going to win because think about this. People are complaining that Roman hasn't been pinned in 3 years. Right. They weren't going to take the titles off of him. So why not have him pinned in a tag match?
Right.
And that you weren't going to pin Solo because if you pin Solo, that's going to make him look weak. You don't want Solo is like his uncle.
Solo's
He's
untouchable.
like, yeah, he's going to be a bulldozer like Umaga.
Right.
So, and I found out something about Solo last night that I didn't know. His middle name is Yokozuna.
Mm-hmm.
They named him after his uncle's in-ring character. I said I didn't know that. Damn. Okay. Middle name Yokozuna. Ain't that something? So you had 3 brothers and a cousin wrestling. They put on the show last night. I think that was. We didn't even talk about match of the night. I think that was match of the night.
I think it's easily match of the night. I didn't even get like for me because of this Paramount thing. I haven't watched. So I read the dirt sheets a lot, and when I've read everything, like even just the print version of this match was outstanding. So I can only imagine the theatrical play out that came or the emotions that came from this thing that we were watching. And the beauty of it is that they're cousins. So you're getting like cousins fighting cousins, brothers on brothers because of Solo and the Usos. Like it's made for TV. It's the perfect thing. And I think they're working this angle to the best way that they can do it without even going back into the old school heel turn, without the old school contract signings. Like they're doing it very new school, and I appreciate that version of it more than anything else.
And I think the boss BJ was home relaxing. I'm not sure if he watched Money in the Bank yesterday. Did you, good sir?
I did not.
Okay. Well, since you're here though, and we're talking about Money in the Bank, and we're talking about the WrestleMania from last night, you made a comment that I needed a clarification on. What I say wrong about Mayweather?
Oh man, I just like if I'm in the comments from now on, I'm gonna be the opposite, sitting on your shoulder. And you was about to. I could feel through the screen that your underpants are getting hot over that Floyd Mayweather talk, just that little bit. That's why I was like, you sir. What exactly did I say?
What was it? I can't even remember what it was now. It was something about leaving not Floyd Mayweather. Something because
about chill on Floyd Mayweather. It was something to that degree.
But it was yeah, because I said Floyd Mayweather is he's a carbon copy of Sugar Ray Robinson. You know, when it comes to the entourage and the money, that's all he is, just a carbon copy.
Yeah, I mean, but Kobe's a carbon copy and Kobe's great. Kobe's a legend. So
I'm not saying that Floyd Mayweather is not a legend. I'm not saying he's not great. However, people calling him the greatest because he's quote unquote 50-0. No. The greatest pound for pound boxer, regardless of weight class, that's what pound for pound means. It's the great Walker Smith Jr., aka Sugar Ray Robinson.
Hey man, I love the subtle head shakes and the if you just pay attention to this show, the face cues on this show alone, we could put it to reels.
Yo, like who knows the real name of Sugar Ray Robinson, bruh? You knew what the handshake was for.
But you got to realize, story time. When I was younger, I wanted to box. The reason why I wanted to box because my uncle boxed. So he was like, "Oh, sure." My godmother gave me a book, and it was basically the autobiography of Sugar Ray Robinson. It was Sugar Ray, and I still have the original copy she gave me, but I also have a newer copy that I pull out. And reading that, I read that book maybe 30 times over the last 30 some odd years. And the way he trained, the way he ate, all of that, I mimicked that as a youngster. And my grandmother caught wind of that and was like, yeah, no. Yeah, I'm putting the end to this now. No, there will be no boxing for you, sir. She said, you can go stick to anything else. She said, you can play soccer, you can play hockey, basketball, or football, but you will not box. So that's why I know what I know about Sugar Ray Robinson.
It's all good, dog. I love teasing you because you are in the truest essence a historian.
Oh, stool of the game, man.
Like I thought I knew a lot, and then like when you talk, I just be like, all right, you 1963 MVP. That's all I gotta say. Every time we talk, that's all I bring up, yo.
Not,
The fact that you have it as a discussion point and not like a point of like a memory. There we go. See,
But you got to look at that. That's a pretty close MVP race. Look at the talent in that MVP race. That's all Hall of Famers.
if you talk to fans, and today we're casuals, and those are plumbers and firemen.
exactly. You talk to jokers today, like those jokers was just. It was an 8-team league, so they could, of course, have those stats.
You
There's no
still got to
skill.
play the game.
There's no skill involved.
Well, what people say? Oh, if I played back then, man, I average 100. Oh, okay. You can't even average 10 right now in this era. So, so how you gonna go back then and average 100? Come on.
You know, actually, somebody made an argument, and I forget who it was. But the way, they were talking about the league and talking about different stats and stuff. And one of the things that I always think about is like when these young basketball players talk about the guys from the old generation, talk about the Elos, the white two guards and all that stuff. Like, I think they don't understand that we're just coming out of like segregation. Like we don't have the same opportunities. Like dudes that are doing street ball moves, there are coaches that won't let you on the court because you can dribble between your legs and all that, because they don't deem that as basketball. They deem that as something else. And the fact that you don't even put that in consideration, don't understand that the way basketball was played was not because of the talent. Basketball was played that way because it was dictated terms because of racism. And I'm gonna get off my soapbox and sit back.
Yeah, I agree. If you transported Kyrie Irving back to the 40s, 50s NBA, they probably think he was a witch.
Right.
Like that's not how basketball was played. That's not how they wanted it played. So again, it's crazy. We bring the spice to everything.
But here's the crazy part. Everybody talks about handles. They thought Bob Cousy had the greatest handles of all time, and he only dribbled with one hand, but he would kill you with that one hand. Cousy would switch over to the left and switch right back to the right and just dribble around all day long. You couldn't steal the ball from him.
Yep. And that's where you have to. I guess it's a thing as you get older and your fandom evolves and you start appreciating the Kuzis, the Maraviches, the guys that came before these guys dribbling a certain way. If you watch, like you said, if you watch these old highlights, then these guys could probably walk some of these guys on defense in the NBA out with one hand because they were that good with one hand. And you know, like today's NBA fan, you know, that grew up watching Steph Curry as their, you know, first kind of NBA will see that as like child's play. Oh no, if you come up the court with one hand, I'm getting the ball. No, you're not. you're not going to touch. Not only are you not going to touch it, you might be bleeding as you come up with some elbows. Back up. Like, hey, who is that? Who did John Stockton tell back the fuck up?
Oh man, I can't remember who that was.
Man, I just watched the interview because he was too close and he told him back the fuck up. I can't remember who it was. Was it was it Earl Watson?
I think that's what it was. Earl Watson.
Earl Watson.
And what's crazy, that's a great segue because we get ready to talk NBA free agency. When it comes to dribbling, now our era, we talk about handles. Of course, Rod Strickland. Tim Hardaway had the most devastating crossover. And I heard somebody say, oh man, that ain't nothing. Them dudes just can't play no defense. That's just a basic crossover. I said, yeah, basic crossover, but got him to the bucket every time. You knew it was coming, but you couldn't stop it. It was so quick. The UTEP two-step put a lot of dudes on skates. because it was boom boom down to the lane instead of boom boom back up, boom boom back up, boom boom back up. It was boom boom, go to the lane, score. That's it. It wasn't, oh, I'm gonna put you on a post, I'm gonna put you on a reel. Nah. The fundamentals of the crossover is gone. Like when you talk handles, since we talking handles, if you've never watched a Isaiah Thomas dribbling exhibition, you don't know what handles are. Like to be able to do the things that he did with a basketball and do the machine gun.
But let's even talk about it to another extent. Like these jokers talk about handles, but back in our day, you never got to turn your hand to the side to get underneath the basketball. That's automatically a carry.
Mm.
That didn't stop being a carry until Jordan.
No, Iverson.
Nah, Jordan.
You sure? Because I remember
Jordan had it was later in his career, but it's right in that window between. It's not that far different. But yeah, Jordan was the first to kind of take his hand and put it under the basketball because Jordan had like a little hesitation he would do on the sideline and off the 45 degrees to the basket. He had a little joint where he would pull his hand to the side and then go past you. Yeah, he was the first. See, and it wasn't completely under the basketball. It was a halfway. So that was the first that I remember of breaking that, like even turning the ball in your hand to become a thing. But let's not get too far caught up in the shaking our fists at the cloud.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something. When you dribbling the basketball, especially when you bringing the ball up court and you get that dribble and you hold your hand out and the ball spins in your palm, I don't know. That's letting me know right then and there. Oh, I'm getting ready to take this dude to the hole. I got the rhythm. I'm getting ready to take him to the hole. It's it. But NBA free agency, a lot of money been paid out over the course of the last 2 days. Damian Lillard then asked for a trade finally. Trying to go, it's Miami or bust. The Wizards re-signed Kuzma. The Lakers put together a young roster that I want to hear the Midnight Rider talk about because I don't think this is it. I think this is it.
I think this is it. So if you watch this show, what did I call Gabe Vincent?
Baby Fish.
There we go. Who do we sign? Baby Fish. Who was my dude that I always talk about? Cam Reddish. We signed Cam Reddish. Like Rob Pelinka. I think really Rob Pelinka is either a fan of the show or he's got my phone tapped. Because he signed everybody I thought besides the only person I didn't think about was Jackson Hayes. And Jackson Hayes is perfect because we're signing him for like $5 million or whatever. And he can jump out of the gym. He's almost like a DeAndre Jordan, Daniel Gafford. The Lakers have put themselves in the perfect position with the moves they made that they can be a viable option in the West. And the issues they had in terms of shooting and in terms of defense, they solved them. So it's really going to be a situation where as long as they get off to a good start and they get some chemistry, they're going to be right there in Denver and all the top teams hip. They're going to be right there, ready to contend, ready to compete. So I'm happy. I mean, the second we signed Gabe, I was done. I was head over heels for the moon because they signed my dude, my guy. You know it because I've talked about him the whole time we've done these playoffs to start it.
Perry say, good moves by the Lakers. Gabe was a great pickup. And you re-up Rui and Reeves at a discount. Because Reeves, what you get Reeves for? You got him for 3 years and what,
like 54, 40? Something like that. Yeah.
They were talking 2 for 40. So yeah, you did get him at a real good discount.
Yeah. They worked everything out to the point where they got value and they got the people they wanted. They got Cam Reddish for like 2 years and 4.5 with his second year being a player's option. And I think that's going to be an option they can pick up because I think this kid will get in LA and he finally understands that this is his last chance. He's not there as a star or to be a star. He's there because dude, you messed up the last 2 or 3 years of your chances, and now you're at the point where the league is going to get tired of you, or it's tired of you. So now you got to make do. You got to make do on his talent. And when I watch the kid, he's one of the most talented guys I've ever watched. Not ever watched, but I've watched in on the basketball court. He's a great shooter. His problem is he doesn't have the work ethic, and he doesn't have the stick-to-itiveness to make it all come to fruition. This dude should have been dropping 20 his second year or third year when he was in Atlanta. But the problem is he doesn't do everything that's necessary to make that happen. So I hope he gets to LA. He gets around LeBron. He gets around AD. You know, he gets around the culture. He gets around Rui that's happy because he's in LA instead of being in Washington. And these are the little things that are going to happen that makes you, step your game up.
Quick comments real quick. Cam's time in LA is about rehabbing his image.
Yep.
Perry says the Suns did well too. Quality bench player pickups. They ain't got no money, so shoot. I was hoping that I got a call from the Suns.
No, the Suns picked up that dude from Brooklyn. What's his name? U2 Wannabe. The Asian kid. They picked him up, so that's a good pickup for them.
And then also, I was hoping to get another call from the Knicks because when the Knicks were looking for players and they had like $330 million, I was like, yeah, I can at least get 5 of that, But Knicks never called. It broke my heart.
So I'm gonna let you in a little secret, KG. The NBA is not looking for 40-plus-year-old twos or threes. I don't know what you play now, but yeah, they're not looking for that.
Let me tell you something. I got high upside. I got a motor. I can out rebound anybody taller than me. And I'm old school 80s dirty.
Your high upside ended in 2002. So you ain't high upside at all.
And Ross says, what the fuck? Tyrese Halliburton, now the thing he needs is a no trade clause. I think that was a dumb contract. 200, what's that, 260 million?
Fellas.
Okay, hold on. But
no NBA contract is dumb anymore. And I don't think this is what people don't get. You get your money. It's you take care of business first. Just like with as much crap as we talk about Bradley Beal, you're not going to turn away $252 million. You get your money first. And a year into it don't work out, they're moving contracts in the NBA. Don't matter what the contract is. You're going to find a team that we're talking about Halliburton. We're talking about a baller. So if he balls out of Indiana, doesn't work out, they don't win, he doesn't owe Indiana anything. He's like, look, I signed, I came through on my end of the bargain. Y'all haven't put anything around me. I'm ready to go. And that's how it is. Today's NBA is. So you get your money, you take care of business, you take care of your family first, then you get on the court, do your thing, and later on the line, like, hey, I want to be moved. Like he's not going to get that. No team is looking for Tyrese Halliburton right now. It just is what it is. But you got teams like the Indianas of the world, the Washingtons of the world, be like, hey, please stay. They're on the ground grabbing your ankle like Jeff Van Gundy was in a fight in New York. Please stay. Look, we're going to give you every dime. Just stay. Give us a chance. And it might be a handshake agreement. It might be something between the hey, look, hey, he doesn't like it. Indiana's a great place. It's about Indiana's a great place. It's a basketball town. If he doesn't like it in 2 seasons, we'll find somewhere for him to go. And that's what it is.
And let's not cheat the whole thing of the new CBA being in place, because I think the new CBA has a restriction or a rule where you have to be somewhere between 80% or 90% within the luxury tax. Like you have a ceiling that you have to reach. And I think it's 90% of the luxury tax, if not 80%. I'll say 80% just to be short, but I think it's 90 to be perfectly honest. But that gives you reason to give these guys the money that you're giving them, because you have to reach this floor also without restriction. Not even talking about what we always talked about with the second apron, where that's kind of like the death trap. So yeah, that makes sense that you're giving these guys the money, but you're also giving them money because really what you're doing is just trying to keep yourself out of harm's way when it comes to the new CBA.
Perry says he keeps showing out. Tyrese will get another max deal when his contract is up. Rookie max makes sense. He also agrees that 2nd April will be a killer.
So hold up. So his rookie max is 260.
He's coming off his rookie deal.
So then that dude's gonna make like $700 million.
As long as he stays healthy, and as long as he balls out, yes, sir.
His boys got White Dante. So
Dante DiVincenzo.
So that's the New York Knicks. So they brought back the Villanova 3.
Yep. And I think that's a good move because you got 3 dudes that know each other and 3 dudes that can ball. I think I was the only person that was high on DiVincenzo after that championship run. I think I was the only person that was high. I was like, this dude's gonna kill it. He's going. I
wasn't on the show at the time, so DiVincenzo's a guy of mine. He's a guy. You know what I'm saying?
I like him.
Forget about it.
What he showed me, because remember he was a most outstanding player that year for the tournament.
Yeah,
and he balled out because see, what was that? That was Villanova versus Michigan, right?
No, you talking about the finals?
What was that? Who was it? It was Villanova versus
North Carolina, because that's when Chris Jenkins took the shot.
Yeah,
I think you're doing this on purpose. I think you're doing this on purpose because you don't want to bring the time out, but you want to get back at me because you want to dilly-dally like you don't know that Villanova beat North Carolina in the finals on the Chris Jenkins last shot. But I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna let this slide. I'm gonna be like Commodus, and I'll be merciful. So go ahead and make your case.
You always want to bring up that damn timeout that never happened, but it's cool.
You just brought up the shot.
I was talking about DiVincenzo, like, bro.
But you're talking about the Villanova team that won the championship.
Let it go, bro.
How about you telling me to let it go, but you can't get over a timeout from 1993?
It never happened.
The timeout did happen. That's why you got a technical, and that's why you lost.
You did.
But go ahead. Talk about the. Go ahead. Talk
Wait,
about
Perry said UNC was the first title. Dante was MOP on the second title. So that didn't even have nothing to do with you. See?
Okay.
Jesus,
Still feel personal.
I wasn't even trying to be personal.
Okay.
Like, you always gotta rip the Band-Aid off. Every time I think I'm healing, this is what you do. Every time I think I'm healing. I think, today's going to be a good day. I'm not going to think about that today because it never happened. And then, boom, here you come.
My bad. KG, it hurts me when I hurt you. Be okay now?
Nah, man. Anyway, I think the Knicks signing DiVincenzo is a good thing. I think, the Knicks are showing that they're trying to not even get back to the level they were this season. They're trying to excel above it, and I like that because what do I always say? When Boston, the Knicks, the Lakers are on top, crops are high, unemployment's low, salaries are high, people got jobs, people are smiling.
I hate that way of thinking. I hate it,
but it's the truth. This past season was the highest rated playoffs viewership. And it's because you had both LA teams, you had the Knicks, and you had Boston.
It's the way it is because, of course, New York. If New York has playoff basketball, that's the mecca right there. So if you got playoff basketball, even if you only get one round, but you got playoff basketball and it's exciting, like it was this season, everything's right with the world. Nobody focuses on anything else. Nobody has time to do anything else. The murder rate's down, theft down. Like we should just elect Madison Square Garden as the president and just have them put good teams around. And the vice president is the Lakers, And Boston is Secretary of Defense.
Whoa. You can't put 18 championships behind the Knicks.
Mecca.
I mean, come on, there's a standard barrier. There's a standard in this world. When we walk in this world, when we breathe oxygen and it becomes CO2, it is Lakers basketball. I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you go.
You don't have
tell you.
18 championships in LA.
No. Hold on. Let BJ talk because we in the wormhole.
Let me tell y'all this. I'm disappointed of this way of thinking because y'all know I like parity, and I feel like that to a certain degree the league has failed with that because you guys are right. When the Lakers are in, when Boston's in, I think Miami gets into that fold now. I think they've elevated not championship wise like history, but I think franchise wise Miami's in that now, and of course New York. I don't put the Clippers in that. I think if it's LA, both LA teams are in there, and it might be a buzz that they might meet. That's something. But I love seeing teams like Denver win. I love seeing a couple years ago the Atlanta run. You know, and I love like when and no disrespect to the Midnight Rider, but when the Lakers got swept, I love hearing the air come out the NBA. That's the side of the coin I'm on, because that means if the conspiracy theories are right, my team will never be pushed up to relevance. The Wizards. It's when is it going to be? And this is just a short rant. When are the other teams going to get a chance? You got Milwaukee a couple years ago.
Yeah,
when are the other? Yeah, in Toronto. Toronto. Yeah. But when are the other teams going to get a chance? Because you have teams that sit in this league that is just bottom feeders. And we don't know what it's like for the Wizards to be on top. We don't know what it's like for the Hawks to be on top. We don't know what it's like for the Clippers to be on top. They've never been on top of the mountain. They never had a dynasty run. You get to see what. I forgot to put Golden State in that now. Golden State's a franchise now that when they're doing good, they have their loads of bandwagon fans, because I've never seen a Golden State fan before, ever. Never seen a Golden State fan before, and that's fine. That's fine. That brings excitement, and Steph Curry and all those guys. But you have these 6 franchises that make the league run, and if somebody throws a wrench in it, Denver, then like who? I didn't know Denver existed. That's the sentiment of the fans. Like, where's Denver at? But yeah, I'm always the anti. I'm always the anti. I want to see the Yankees get beat in postseason, and not just get beat. I want the breaks to get beat off of them. I want to see the Lakers get swept. I want to see the Canadians and the dominant teams in the NHL go down. I want to see Kansas City lose in the AFC Championship game 42-10, or throbbing. That's what I want to see. I want to see the top teams go down, and I want to see that new blood injected. That's what I want to see.
So it's funny you say that, because fans say that, and I'm not. This is a viewership part of this. Like, fans always say they want parity, they want all these things, but the perfect example is the NCAA tournament. The second the blue bloods are gone, the second the important teams are out, fans don't watch. But they always will tell you, "Oh, I want to see Delaware State, or I want to see VCU get to the Final Four." But VCU gets to the Final Four, and guess what happens? Their remote controls don't work. They watching Impractical Jokers. They're watching guys' grocery games. They're watching drivers dine in and dives, but they're not watching what? The NCAA tournament. And that is the funniest thing to me in the world. Is they will love the underdog all the way until the Final Four. And the second Final Four weekend hits, guess what happens? They become absent. They don't, because they're no longer interested. They were interested in the story until we got to this point. And if you watched even this year with the finals, when you had what was the Florida school? The Florida school that was in the thing, their games weren't watched. And it's the funniest thing to me that fans will say, "Oh, I love the underdog." You don't love the underdog. You just like the underdog. You're not in love with the underdog. you like dating the underdog, but when the underdog asks you to put a ring on a finger, you know where to be found. And that's the funny thing to me.
And the NCAA basketball and football better start getting used to that because the way things are going now, and Blue Bloods are going to have a lot of competition.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes and no.
And
Yes and no.
You're going to. Don't get me wrong. Your Blue Bloods are still going to pull. They still have the advantage, but the way things are going now, you're going to see more schools like that Florida school. You're going to see more teams be able to be put together for a season or two, and make a run at it because they have more depth. You know, it's various reasons, but it's going to be this upcoming NCAA football season. It's going to be very interesting. You know,
it's why we're talking about the transfer portal.
Mhm.
It's why we're taking it. So the beauty of it is, like right now, the NCAA is somewhat taking the transfer portal from a 60-day window to a 30-day window. That's not because of the uncertainty of it. It's because the Blue Bloods and the other programs have complained enough that this window is too long, and that's why it's being shortened. It's not being shortened for any other reason than they don't have the comfort in being dominant. Like they feel threatened by this transfer portal, and I think Dion showed them in the moments in these last couple months. Dion has showed them that I can build a team through the transfer portal. So now all of a sudden, we're talking about like a college football team in Colorado that might be relevant in the next 2 to 3 months because of the.
Well, let me get to these comments real quick. Perry says even as a Knicks fan, he had to agree about the Knicks not being the president, but the Lakers being the president.
Right.
It's best for the league when Boston, Lakers, Knicks, and now Miami are playoff good. I agree with that.
Yep.
NBA parity is actually there. Name the last back-to-back champs. Golden State, but that was like what? Damn,
Yeah.
That's been a while. That's been a long time. And NFL parity is a farce. Debate for another show. I agree with that. Typical small market tape. And Cinderella stories were off. We're off. Yeah, they do. Question for the boss, BJ. Your big signing as a Washington Wizard. You bring Kyle Kuzma back. He like, come on, let's run it back. So you got the Kuzma Poole thing going. Do you think those two guys and a couple of young bucks can win 40 games?
First of all, they're not running anything back. Yeah, they're not running anything back. Let's take that off the table. We've been waiting for the smoke to clear for what the Wizards were doing for the last couple of weeks, and it looks like they've assembled a team that could possibly, if they're hot and everything gels, you got the problem child out of the building. Could this team win? I mean, after the first 4 teams in the East, it's Wild Wild West. This isn't a strong man. It's 7 teams that's going to make the playoffs. I mean, we've had years in the NBA. You like 6 teams making the playoffs for sure. You don't have that in the East. You might have that more in the West, and that all depends on if the Clippers, Big Two, are going to play more than 60 games. But I like it. But I was also hoping for a top 3 pick next year. So, if they win 40 games, they're not going to get a top 3 pick. I think this can be an exciting team to watch. But I'm still kind of confused on, if that was the case, why not keep Porzingis? If you were going to sign Kuzma back and then have Jordan Poole, then you could have, not a big 3. I hate that term too, but just guys on the court that can score, spread the ball. I like it, but I don't like it. I'd rather have seen Kyle Kuzma maybe go somewhere else because I know Kyle Kuzma is about Kyle Kuzma. Until that changes, you know, I don't think he's here to win. I think he's here for his paycheck. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how to feel about this. I wanted a top 3 pick next year. That's what I was hoping for. But I don't think this team is bad enough for that. I think this is a possible playing team if everything goes right.
Hold on. Perry says Kuzma's deal is very tradable.
Right.
Harrison Barnes messed up Kuzma's money, big money deal, and 34 wins max for the Wigs. Still, that's bad. But here's a caveat: with Bradley Beal gone, let's say Kuz plays 81 games, uh, Poole plays 82. They ball out, and this team actually wins more games with those two than you did with Bradley Beal being the star. What does that say about Bradley Beal's time in DC?
We, you don't even have to do that because when Bradley Beal had his press conference in Phoenix, I tweeted Robbins landed in Phoenix to go get Batman and Superman his donuts. That's everybody knows it. Everybody except Bradley Beal knows what Bradley Beal is, and that situation in Phoenix is going to be make or break for Bradley Beal because the Midnight Rider said something. You just reminded me to touch on it. When you and I've said this plenty of times. When you get to LA, when you get to Boston, when you get to Miami and the Pat Riley, and you don't have work ethic, and you ain't serious on the court, you're going to get broken. And Bradley Beal is going somewhere where now the expectations is championship. There is no let's make the play-in. There is no this, that, and the other. And he said something in his press conference that shows you where he is as a player. That shows you he doesn't want it. He said it. He said, go check Book and KD. I'm going to sit back and chill. That is not the mentality of a sniper. That's not the mentality of a sniper. That's not the mentality of a dog that wants the ball. And he just showed you why his 11 years in Washington has been average. Has been just needle went up a little bit and it just been sitting here at idle. You've been in a Ferrari and idle. You know how you sit in your car and it's hot outside. You got to rev it up a little bit to get the air going cold, or you got to move. That's Bradley Beal. You're sitting in your car and the air's going stale. That's what he is. He's going to sit behind KD and he's going to sit behind Booker, and he's not going to be able to put up 30 and 40 shots anymore. So he is what he is. And I think this Washington team is already better. I think you're going to see a better product on the floor. I think you're going to see better coaching because you actually have coachable guys. You get Jordan Poole in here, has championship pedigree. You're hoping, even though he's a young guy, you're hoping that he can bring some of that with him. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see. It's a lot to ask a young guy to, hey, we need you to turn around 50 years of misery.
Well, Kuzma has championship pedigree as well.
But these are both young guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, these are both young guys. You know, you only get that young guy every now and again, every few moons that can come in with maturity into the league like LeBron James and turn a franchise around. I don't think Poole and Kuzma are those guys. They're the start of it. But, you know, like the Midnight Rider said, like you've said, we said on the show, they need that veteran presence to hold them accountable, you know, to rough up things a little bit, you know, to kind of like that Udonis Haslam glue. That's what they need. That's what they're kind of missing on this team right now. And, you know, it's free agency and stuff is far from over. So we'll see what happens.
And Perry says, when I asked the question, what does it do? What does it say about Bradley Beal's time in DC? He said nothing. I think Bradley Beal knows he's not a number one. He finally starting to realize that, but he should have realized that a couple years ago, if we're being honest.
Can I say something? They asked on the radio the other day, I forgot what show it was, what's your Bradley Beal moment in DC? And I couldn't think. And I was like, nah, none of the game winners. And I saw it for the other day, and I said, "That is my Bradley Beal moment." After John Wall hit those free throws, and they threw the ball to LBJ, and he was guarding LBJ like he had sand in his feet, and LBJ hit that bank three to tie the game and send it to overtime. That is my Bradley Beal moment.
Midnight Rider.
What are we talking about, man?
What's your Bradley Beal moment in DC? I want to hear what you got to say.
I don't have one because I'm not worried about it. I mean, no offense to Bradley Beal, but he's not a Laker, so it doesn't matter to me. Nah, seriously. So seriously, let me take it back a step. No, because I know exactly what BJ's talking about when it comes to the Bradley Beal moment, and I think it was actually a cross section. I think it was a cross section of Kevin Sheehan. So it's funny how the schedule works on 106 and 980, but I think it was a cross section of Kevin Sheehan, B. Mitch and Finley, and Chris Russell. So I think they all three kind of had this conversation, willingly, or I mean, unknowingly or knowingly, and it just nothing came up, and I couldn't think of a moment for me that stood out that said, "Oh, this is a Bradley Beal moment in Washington." I was big on Bradley Beal just because he was a shooter and he could spot up and shoot it, and John Wall made him look good. And the last couple of years, I argue with you guys on when y'all were on Podbean, just as like, what have you put around Brad to make Brad good? Like you can't just put this dude out here with the Miracles and expect, Smokey Robinson and company. You can't put him out there with the Miracles and expect the Temptations. Like you got to get something else. You got to get the lead guy to be the right guy. You know what I'm saying? You can't put him out there with just what's this Church Boy and expect the 5 heartbeats to happen. You gotta have a lead, man. Go ahead, KG.
I'm gonna say a few things because you said something that made me chuckle a little bit. Number one, Bradley Beal does not have the creativity of one William Smokey Robinson, so he will never have the Miracles behind him. He will never be David Ruffin, Otis Williams, Melvin Franklin, Paul Williams, or Eddie Kendricks because he doesn't have the creativity or the moves. You know what he is? He's one of those lowly groups in Detroit in the 60s that just want Motown to sign him. That's what he is. He's the leader of that group, but he's not the strong one. But see, when he leaves the group gets signed. That's what he is. And my Bradley Beal moment, going into the bubble in 2020, and he left them young boys by themselves. Because my shoulder hurt. You couldn't play 10 more games. And all you had to do was win a couple. I think they had to win, 5 out of 10? And they would have been in the play-in game? Dog, you could have willed them to 5 wins. Easy. But you left them boys high and dry. And Perry says you can't have Mickey Free lead singing Shalimar. That is right. That is right. And Perry also says Tyus Jones will be the Wiz best off-season pickup. Hey, I'm loving it, man. I am absolutely loving it because you
still there? You good?
I'm loving it because, man, the end result is Beal's out of DC. He didn't want to be here anyway. And that's the thing. A lot of players come here, oh, I couldn't wait to get here. No, don't lie. I'm here because they paid me. And that don't matter what sport it is. It don't matter if it's basketball or football. Because in hockey and baseball, you really don't have that too much in DC. But basketball and football, guys come here, get paid, and they never reach the potential that got them the money to get paid, i.e., Brandon Lloyd, Albert Hainsworth, who else? Mitch Richmond.
I don't agree with Mitch Richmond.
I don't. Mitch Richmond, they were still a mediocre team,
Yeah,
and
but
Mitch Richmond was one of the best two guards in the league. But when he got here,
what did y'all just say? Mitch Richmond was a really good guard, and we were going way off the rabbit hole. But
Yeah, we've been way down there.
yeah, Mitch Richmond gave you what he was going to give you every night. He just didn't have any help. Mitch Richmond wasn't going to be the guy that what James Harden was doing in Houston and willing the team to win and stuff. Like he would have his nights, but that wasn't what he was. That was, he needed a dominant inside guy to help and contribute. He wasn't going to be the guy. That wasn't what he was. That wasn't him.
all right, I give you that. I'll give you that. Where we going next? So we just wrapping this thing up, B.
It's up to you, man.
Because we knocking on that hour mark, and we done been all over the universe. So I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up for now.
Okay.
Richmond is Dennis Edwards without backup.
Wow.
Don't look any further. Oh man. Well, gentlemen, we are at July 2nd, so you know what that means. Number one, the WNBA is going to heat up. Number two, training camps around the corner for the NFL. So, yes, sir.
The WNBA is going to heat up.
It always heats up in July.
We talking about crockpot? Heat up? Like, I'm talking about like low on like 10 hours heat up?
See, I can tell you didn't grow up in.
Or is the WNBA is are you talking about is those acronyms for ingredients or something? Like what do
I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean,
can tell.
they played like the last 2 months, and I still don't know what day they play on.
The thing is about the WNBA.
I haven't seen the commercial. Like I haven't even seen somebody be like, "Oh, on Tuesday, the WNBA Phoenix and." No, I haven't seen that. I get accidental joints. You know what I'm saying?
I scrolled and saw a Brittany Griner interview, and she was like, "Yeah, we played the game, and we were." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
I saw a Brittany Griner joint. And they were like, "Yeah, we was in the airport, and everybody was talking to us." I was like, "That's probably the most attention you're gonna get the whole time." So I don't know.
Perry says the Aces on a historic pace. That is true. They are looking to break my Houston Comets record. So, and you need to start watching. Yes.
So you're a Houston Comets fan.
I was a Houston Comets fan since day one. I cried when they folded. They had Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper, and Tina Thompson.
I'm not arguing at that point. I just didn't know. That's all.
Jennifer Arcane. Like I can name. I sat down every Saturday and watched them. The games that came on during the week, I taped them and watched them on Friday nights.
Okay.
And gameplay is dope as fuck. It's very fundamental. You need a serious tutorial. Long time Liberty fan. See.
Y'all taking some liberties. You're taking some liberties in the words y'all use when you talk about very fundamental. Because these girls trying to play like dudes way too much, and they taking a whole bunch of threes. So there's no old school basketball in these WNBA games. So I don't know. But go ahead. I mean, let's wrap it up.
And Ross says training camp. Yes, training camp is around the corner. Let me get you off this WNBA thing. I damn about to incite a riot. Shit. But training camp is starting up. I guess Tuesday we'll have some training camp questions before it starts for DC and Buffalo.
So let's do the one last question, and let's wrap it off for this. Boss BJ, you're a Buffalo fan. The two of us are Commanders fans. Going into your training camp, the biggest question mark, as far as like what worries you the most about your team this offseason or coming into this season? and I'll let you lead off, Buffalo guy, and then we'll commander it because left hand up. See, he didn't even do it. He didn't even do it.
The only thing. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna send you a Buffalo thing that I want up there too, because this is 2-on-1. This is.
We're gonna have somebody going through a table.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna have to be, or somebody covered in mustard and ketchup, something like that. My concern is still, they drafted, they signed a free agency, but my concern is still the offensive line. Okay. Can't win in this league. You can only work on Josh Allen magic so much. And depth at receiver, because Gabe Davis had a very disappointing season last season. And I thought he was going to take off and push. I really thought he was going to. It could happen this year. I thought he was going to push for Stephon Diggs' role because he has that talent. He has that ceiling, but he has a problem holding on to the ball. I'm not really concerned about the run game because your quarterback, being Josh Allen, and will open up the run game. You should run for 1,000 yards behind Josh Allen because he's going to give you those opportunities because of his legs. But the offensive line for me is still the issue. It's still the issue. I think I read somewhere that they were ranked 29th as a unit last season. So that's the big deal. And I just don't believe – I'm going to have to go up and look this up. I just don't believe if you got 20 down on the offensive line, I don't think you're winning a Super Bowl. So that has to improve. That has to drastically improve. That has to – if they're 29th now, it has to be a 19 unit by week 5. They have to improve on that offensive line. If they don't, then you're going to see this great 13-4, whatever, Buffalo team. They're going to win the AFC. And then Kansas City's going to put their foot on their throat, or Cincinnati, because they're behind those two teams. And they might be behind the Jets, depending on what the Jets bring to the table. Because I told you, I thought they were before the Aaron Rodgers news, I thought they were the most complete team without a quarterback. They have everything situated. O-line, D-line, corner, linebacker, you name it, receiver. So if they want to compete in their own division, they're going to have to keep that offensive line upright, and they're going to have to give Josh Allen time and not have to run around like a chicken with his head cut off. So it's offensive line for me. Receiver secondary.
So you make it easy because with Washington, I think the biggest issue going into the training camp is offensive line, because you're putting 4 guys in the 4 positions that they didn't play the season before, whether it's Sadiq Charles or Chris Paul at left guard. You got the kid in center, Nick Gates, or Spencer Larson. Both have had injury issues. And then you have Cosme playing right guard, and Cosme's proven only one thing is he's consistently hurt. And then you have the dude they signed from Kansas City. His name is escaping me right now, but he's the 5th. So I think for Washington, offensive line is number 1. And I think number 2, to be honest, is quarterback, because we don't know what Sam is going to give us. I love Sam. I think Sam is a gunslinger, but you got to prove it more than just 11 for 19 and whatever he did against the Cowboys. So that's my wrap up, or my thoughts on that.
Well, for me, it was quarterback number 1. I'm concerned with, because I don't know what he's going to give us. All these people call for him to start, and now you got it. And I hate when people do it, because then when you see it, you're severely disappointed. I remember when they called for Grossman to start over McNabb, and then you got it, and you were like, well, what the fuck is this shit? Exactly.
Whoa. McNabb was terrible when he was here. McNabb was terrible the last 2 years he was in Philly. McNabb's the reason that Philly didn't even get past Arizona in that game that was like 35-42 or whatever, because McNabb threw a ball in the ground that should have been a touchdown, and they should have never made it to overtime. But that's me. That's revisionist history. But that's different. this house situation is a team that is in a situation where we're going through a transition, and it's not about because new ownership. So I think here's how I think this happened, and I'm gonna say it clearly this way. I think new ownership sent a memo through the grapevine. I don't trust you to pick a quarterback or have a quarterback for next year. So use what we have in place, sign a guy, and then from the moment we take over the team going forward, we'll figure this out. But you're not picking a quarterback of the future that we're tied to. So like when Ron came in and he was tied to Dwayne Haskins, and everybody and anybody would have been upset if with the the second pick, they took a Herbert or Tua. This is what we came up with. So this is why we're here right now, is because Josh Harris and his people was called in and was like, look, Ron, I don't care what you're doing, but we're not taking a quarterback because I don't trust y'all to take a quarterback. And then I fully expect that after the season's over, if not sooner, that Ron's giving up the GM or the control of the team, and they're going to go with a traditional setup. So that's how I feel. That's
All right. Perry say I can tap him in for WNBA talk. Yeah, I'm gonna need that because these two gentlemen. Jets offense will be predicated on Breece Hall, and if Dalvin Cook is smart, he'll sign with the Jets. I'm guessing Howell will cost Ron Rivera his job. And
Ron Rivera's lost his job already.
Better hope Bieniemy is about that playbook. Hey,
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to Eric Bieniemy, and I'll say this and we'll get out of here. I give him 2 years here before they run him out of town because he's old school. Well, he yells too much. I don't see why he yells at me. I don't see why he has to talk so harshly to me. Like, he doesn't give me positive reinforcement. I do things, and I mess up sometimes, but he just doesn't give me positive reinforcement. Well, he doesn't tell me what my motivation is. What's my motivation to go get this sack? 2 years. And that's it. They're going to run him out of town because he's a little too old school for these folks. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you for joining us for the Midnight Rider, the boss BJ. I'm the big guy KG. Y'all know our motto, baby. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here.